still of midnight, beneath the shadow of a full, ominous moon, 4 friends Sam, Mike, Jake, and Ethan set off to unravel the dark legend of Blackwood Forest. They'd heard rumors, the kind that came with hushed voices and flickering eyes, stories of a forest where shadows moved on their own, where time itself seemed to twist and stretch, and where those who entered rarely returned. Tonight, they would see it for themselves. The first few steps into Blackwood Forest felt wrong. The air was thick, damp, and filled with the scent of decaying leaves. Every snap of a twig underfoot echoed through the unnatural silence, as if the forest itself was listening. Branches reached out like skeletal fingers, snagging at their clothes and pulling them deeper, as though the forest wanted them inside. They hadn't gone far when they saw it, a tattered old tent, half buried in the dirt and leaves. It looked ancient, untouched for years. The forest was supposed to be empty, yet here was a camp that looked like someone had fled in terror. Ethan noticed faint scratches on a nearby tree, words clawed into the bark that read, "Don't follow the whispers." The whispers started softly. A voice, faint, beckoning from deeper within the trees. The sound was twisted, wrong, like a chorus of voices speaking as one. Sam felt a chill ripple down his spine, and they all froze. Jake tried to laugh it off, but his face betrayed him. He heard it too. The voices were calling their names. They quickened their pace, but the shadows seemed to follow, shifting in the corner of their eyes. A flicker here, a movement there, always just out of sight, but always present. Suddenly, a cold, unnatural wind blew through, extinguishing their only flashlight, plunging them into near darkness. Desperate for shelter, they stumbled upon an old, decrepit cabin hidden deep within the forest. The windows were broken, and the door hung loosely, creaking ominously as they entered. The smell of mildew and rot filled the air. Inside, a dusty, cracked mirror reflected their faces, but something was wrong. Sam noticed it first in the reflection. There was a 5th figure standing among them. Without warning, the unseen figure lunged, throwing them into chaos. The friends scattered, each of them running blindly into the darkness, the heavy thud of footsteps echoing as something chased them. Branches scratched at their faces, and they could hear something breathing just inches away, unseen but horrifyingly close. Ethan found himself alone, the forest eerily silent around him. He called out for his friends, but only his echo answered. A strange fog rolled in, blinding him. He spun around in panic, only to come face to face with a shadow, a pair of hollow, glowing eyes staring back at him from inches away. The 3 remaining friends regrouped, each of them bruised, bleeding and trembling. They made a mad dash for the edge of the forest, the distant glow of streetlights visible through the trees. But as they ran, the forest seemed to twist and stretch, the exit always out of reach, and the shadows, countless in number, emerged to block their way. Only one of them stumbled out of the forest as dawn broke, barely able to stand, his clothes torn and his eyes wide with terror. But as he reached the edge of the trees, he heard a voice. It was Sam's, a whisper on the wind, calling from deep within Blackwood Forest, begging for help.
Help me!
And just for a moment, he looked back, before the forest swallowed the last trace of light. They say the forest of Blackwood doesn't just consume those who wander in, but takes a part of them, leaving only whispers behind. And if you listen closely on a quiet night, you might just hear the lost souls calling out for the way home.
Before you leave, don't look back. The darkness of Midnight Frights lingers here, waiting to pull you into the shadows. Subscribe if you dare, but beware, once you're in, the stories will never let you go.